Can you believe that this is currently what your career has become?
Honestly, it's hard to. Making it to the big leagues, getting called up to be a bullpen guy, and then getting a chance to start, and saying it was a goal to win a Cy Young, which I think it was. It's every starting pitcher's goal or pitcher for to win one, but to win two back to back, I think this one's going to take some time to set in, and never really could imagine it. Like I said, it's a goal and a dream, and for it to actually happen is pretty unreal.
Jacob, Doug Williams here. First of all, we're getting some pretty cute cameos going on behind you, so thank you for that. What was the biggest difference between the two Cy Young seasons when you think about that?
I just think, this year I had to kind of overcome that little stretch I had there with 3 or 4 starts in a row, and figure out a way to get back on track and refocus at the task ahead, and not dwell on what had happened before. Last year, I was fortunate enough not to have really any hiccups in my season, and then to have a few this year, and to be able to recover from those, and go out there and try to put our team in a position to win, I felt like was the biggest plus from this past year.
Stating your Cy Young goals publicly, you've now done that twice and you've won twice. How much does you putting it all out there help you accomplish that goal? Do you use that as motivation?
I think the motivation is playing this game that we love, going out there and competing, giving it your all, leaving it all out there on the field. And, I said it before, and, I guess I'll say it again, that's you set personal goals, and I guess, personal goal for next year would be win a Cy Young, and team goal would be to win a World Series. So, hopefully I can go out there and continue to try to improve.
Breaking news here on BNNY, going for a third consecutive Cy Young. Listen, you spoke about this in spring training, the pressure of coming off of an historic season like 2018, and how you were trying as best you could to just put that out of your mind. When you now look back on this year, how difficult was that to not put too much pressure on yourself to be what you were, and especially coming off that contract extension, to not put pressure on yourself to try and do more than you could?
Yeah, I think those are two things that, you say you try to block them out the best you can, but those things creep into your mind. All spring, I was trying to just focus on getting ready for the 2019 season, and then ended up signing a contract, and you don't want to disappoint whenever you do something like that, and then you always try to find a way to improve, and then come out, have 2 good starts, and then 3, well, I can't even remember if it was 3 or 4 bad ones in a row, but then you look like, oh man, now I really got to figure this out. So I think I had a little added pressure on myself, trying to think about things that were had already happened, instead of just controlling what I could control, and that was the pitch that I was about to throw.
Do you remember a time, Jacob, or the last couple of years where it clicked in your brain like, hey, I'm one of the best pitchers in baseball? Or has that vision of yourself among the game's greats kind of always been there?
That's a tough question, because, in 2014 when I won the Rookie of the Year, I was thinking in 2015, I want to just prove that wasn't like a fluke thing. And then, had a good year in 15. We went to the World Series. We fell a little short. Then 16, ended up getting hurt. And then just trying to continue to find a way to get better. I try not to think about the other things. Just go out there and, like I said, try to control what I can control. And that's the pitch that I'm about to throw.
Jake, after your last start of the season, I asked you a question about your resume now, assuming that you would win this second consecutive Cy Young award. You've been in the league for 6 years. You've won a Rookie of the Year. You've been to 3 All-Star games. You've now won back-to-back Cy Youngs, just the 11th pitcher in Major League history to do that. Now that you've been away from the grind of the season for about a month plus. Do you start to reflect on what type of resume you're building when you set personal goals? Do you now start to think about a Hall of Fame career, a number retirement? Are those conscious thoughts for you?
Honestly, I haven't really thought about it too much. I was kind of nervous leading up to this announcement, and I think now it's that this was announced. I think it's preparing for next year. I think that's just kind of the way that I go about it. I just try not to think about those things and just try to figure out a way to get better and to continue to get guys out.
During that same conversation the last weekend of the season, when I asked you to talk about these 2 years as a whole, the first thing you referred to was those 3 starts at the end of April, like you were still kicking yourself over those starts. You talk about how you want to improve holding runners on next year, where everybody on the outside is looking at the remarkable things you've accomplished. It seems like you still pick at things and try and find a way to continue to get better. Do you consider yourself a perfectionist, and do you think that that is a main reason why you've elevated yourself to this level?
Yeah, a little bit. I think, I still think about those 3 starts and just how I kind of let those get out of control. And I feel like if I had a chance to do them over, then I wouldn't let them get out of control. I feel like I got frustrated and just started throwing the ball. I don't really pitch well when I'm angry, and I tend to leave the ball over the middle of the plate. So looking at those and kind of just seeing, even my body language on the mound, those 3 starts still aggravate me. And I think, that does help me with how I take the mound and how I do constantly want to get better. And I think that is part of throwing the 2 sides. I want to feel as comfortable on the mound that 5th day as I can. There's times when this year, I think maybe once or twice where I didn't throw the 2 sides just because, I was hanging a little bit. But normally I find a way to get up there and throw those 2 in between. And that way when I take the ball that 5th day, I feel as comfortable as I can be with all 4 pitches.
Jacob, we've got this deGromination Day thing down. We've got the graphics built. We've got the set built around us. This is our 2nd year doing it. What do you say next year, right around this time, we do the same thing, Jacob? How's that sound to you?
Yeah, that'd be nice.